This is Danielle Yeager with another series for you. This time, over the next 6 weeks, we will be diving into healthy relationships. So this is part 1 of that series, and this is Healthy Relationships 101. So one of the key pillars in our lives is our relationships. Relationships include romantic relationships, friendships, family, even peer co-worker type of relationships. The principles we are going to talk about throughout this series can be applied to most of those relationships in your life, but we're really going to focus in on romantic relationships. So why romantic relationships? Romantic relationships are often of utmost importance to us. There's much more pressure of succeeding or failing those kinds of relationships. I know you want to succeed, and so do I. Therefore, it is a great place to work from and on. Plus, how we treat one relationship in our life is often how we approach all of our relationships, so it is a great basis to just have better relationships overall by focusing on the one that is maybe the most important to us. So if we focus on having a really healthy romantic relationship, you're going to find yourself naturally applying those principles across your relationships. And that's what I hope you gain from this series as well. So even though relationships are so key and important to our lives, we often find ourselves in unhealthy relationships. This is especially true for those of us who are incredibly sensitive and giving. This sensitivity and generosity can be an amazing characteristics that bring a lot to another person. However, it can also attract people who take advantage of that compassion, and we can find ourselves in a lot of one-sided relationships and even abusive relationships. So following your heart is great, but let's also be smart about it. Let's put the work into creating healthy relationships in our lives. So here are the keys to a healthy relationship that I'm going to talk about all throughout this series and kind of give you an overview today. So the first one is communication. Communication is key to any kind of relationship. This includes being able to be brave and vulnerable with what you share and creating space for your partner to also be vulnerable. It includes learning to really listen, making a habit of listening more than you talk, and asking more questions. The second key is boundaries. So this might seem to be an opposition of vulnerability, but I would argue that setting boundaries requires great vulnerability. You need to decide what your non-negotiable things are in a relationship. You also need to actively find out what your partner's boundaries are and what are the boundaries you decide for your relationship together. Boundaries are setting up the extremes, not just a list of desires. The third key for a healthy relationship is commitment. So commitment can look different from one relationship to another, and that goes back to setting those boundaries. The commitment I am talking about here is the commitment to lighting your partner up. When you approach your relationship with the commitment to make the other person happy versus tallying scores and figuring out what they owe you and what you've done for them and making it a competition, you're going to really find yourself much happier and healthier if you're committing to just making them happy. When you are keeping score, that means there's a winner and a loser. And in a healthy relationship, there is no loser. So the next key area for a healthy relationship is self-love. So healthy relationships start with you. If you're not in a place where you're caring for yourself and really showing yourself love, then you're not ready for a truly healthy relationship. Without strong self-love, you'll find yourself looking for someone to save you or continue to find yourself in relationships where people are taking advantage of you because that's how you feel worthy. And the fifth key is going to be forgiveness. So you've already set your boundaries, but there are a lot of opportunities to be disappointed and even hurt when those extreme boundaries aren't even crossed. So what this means is to have a healthy relationship, you need to learn to forgive. Holding on to little disappointments and hurts will build up and blow up in ways that can crumble a relationship. And this starts by learning to forgive yourself too. The sixth key to healthy relationships is physicality. Physicality is helpful to any kind of relationship, but is extremely important in a romantic relationship. A romantic relationship is a special type of relationship that allows for deep physical and emotional intimacy that you just do not get anywhere. Therefore, it's important and not something to put on the back burner. In conjunction with your partner, you get to decide what physicality looks like for your relationship, and then you have to commit to not getting lazy with it. Remember, your commitment is to lighting up your partner within the restrictions of those boundaries you put in place. I know that you are a giver. And the last key to a healthy relationship is appreciation. So gratitude is a great way to shape your mind to see the glass half full. No one is perfect, and if you start focusing on their flaws, you're going to ruin your relationship. So make a habit of telling your partner why you appreciate them. Make it a habit of looking for things to appreciate in and about your partner. So you can use these techniques to create, attract, or even adapt a healthy relationship. It is also important to know the red flags for an unhealthy relationship. Sometimes when you're in an unhealthy relationship, it can be hard to see what's really happening, and you can start making excuses. So please think about these red flags I'm going to go over next carefully, and if they come up, consider making a change. So the first red flag is inequality. Are you always doing things for the other person? You come to them, you buy them things, you compliment them, etc., and it's not reciprocated. 2, do you feel disrespected? Do they say things or act in a way that shows you that they think very little of you? Third red flag, any aggressive or physical behavior. If someone hits you, throws something at you, etc., even once, that's abusive and is a red flag. Fourth red flag is going to be insults. Do they seem to put you down, make fun of you, or point out your flaws? Fifth red flag is possessiveness. Do they want to limit your friendships or have a monopoly over your time? And the last red flag is jealous accusations. Do they look through your phone or create arguments around ideas that you could be cheating when you really aren't? Okay, so let's go back over those things really briefly. So the keys for healthy relationships are communication, boundaries, commitment, self-love, forgiveness, physicality, and appreciation. Those are things we're going to go over deeper in the next few weeks. And the red flags are inequality, disrespect, aggressive physical behavior, insults, possessiveness, and jealous accusations. Okay, so these are the healthy relationship 101 items I have for you to think about and to start putting into practice. I know that it was a lot of information, so here are the steps I want you to take today. The first step is to think through the red flags and ensure that the relationship you are in, if you're in one, is not meeting any of these red flags. And if it is, make a change. And number 2, action step for this week is to pick one of the keys of a healthy relationship and focus on improving that area this week. So please share with me in the comments below what you are going to work on. And if you're ready to make big waves in your relationship, then it is time that we work together one-on-one. I only have limited space, so if you're interested, make sure you check out the link in the description below to get all the information. And I will see you next week for part 2 on this series on healthy relationships. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss it. And if you're enjoying this series, please give me a thumbs up.